podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks, coast to coast, on Saturday, February 20th, 2021. This is episode 1772. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Switching to Mint Mobile's premium wireless service is the easiest way to save this year. Maximize your savings with plans starting at just $15 a month. And get the plans shipped to your door free at mintmobile.com/techguy. And by Casper. You deserve a fresh start this year. Reset your rest with supremely comfortable mattresses, bedding, and more from Casper. Go to casper.com/twit1 and use the code TWIT1 for $100 off select mattresses. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones, we got your smart watches, all that jazz. All the technology invading our lives, changing the way we live for the better most of the time. 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. What's that? That's my phone number if you want to call. Kim Schaffer's waiting for you. She'll take your call, get you on the air here. 8888 Ask Leo. There's a chat room going on all the time, irc.twit.tv, TWiT. irc.twit.tv, and there's some nice people in there. I call them the Team Tech Guy. They can help you out, too. In fact, often I rely on them for quick answers, irc.twit.tv. We also have a website. I'm giving you all the information now, all at once here. You don't have to write anything down, though, because it's all at the website. You need to memorize techguylabs.com. That's all. Tech Guy, that's me, labs, whereby beakers and Bunsen burners are, .com, techguylabs.com. And I mention that because everything that happens on the show ends up there, one way or t'other. So answers to your questions, links to things I mention, thanks to our scribe, James DeRuvo. He's putting it all there. We also put the show itself, after the fact, audio and video. So you can go there and see any one of the 1,772 episodes in the can. Well, there's 1,771 episodes in the can. This is 1772. A good year. Let's see, what else do you need to know? Oh, it's free. I should mention that, because I think people think I'm trying to get you to pay something. No, it's free. Wide open. No sign up or anything. techguylabs.com. So Facebook did it. You know, if you think about sites like Google and Facebook, I think sometimes newspapers say, oh, they put us out of business. It's true, the internet really hasn't been good for printed things like newspapers and magazines, even books, certainly encyclopedias, because, all that stuff's online. I still buy printed books, but only if I, kind of have to, if there's not an internet version of it. News, yeah, I still get a Sunday paper just because I like to have that big thing clonking on my porch. And I get the local paper, but most of my news is probably the case with you, is on the internet. So, that's been a big change for publishers and something they've had to deal with. They like to cast blame. I mean, it's the internet in general, but what's funny is that sites like Facebook and Google and even Twitter send people to news sites, right? A lot of times that's where you get the link. So, in some ways you could say, well, thank you, Google, because if it weren't for Google, that's where you find the story that you're looking for. People don't go to their local paper online, though, pretty much, right? You search it. And I guess you could also blame sites like Craigslist, and Tinder and others, because they're taking away some of the real revenue. The classified ads, that's one of the things that keeps newspapers alive. Display ads, too. And, of course, while people still buy ads in newspapers, for the most part, I would say almost all ad sales have moved, well, I guess, to some degree to radio and TV. Do they blame radio and TV for putting them out of business? I don't know. And then to a great degree, of course, to websites. So publishers like Rupert Murdoch, the guy in charge of the Wall Street Journal and a bunch of other tabloid newspapers around the world. He's big in Australia. He's Australian. He's big in Australia. And, of course, Fox. Rupert doesn't like that too much. And he's decided to blame Google and Facebook. Went to the Australian legislature and said, you ought to make a law. There ought to be a law against this. And, in fact, they're about to make a law that says Google and Facebook have to pay the newspapers for sending them traffic. What they don't like is that, the search results, and if you search for a news story, have a little snippet, you've seen it, little clip, and they say, oh, man, they're taking our content. But on the other hand, you could probably also say if it weren't for Google and Facebook, how would people find your content? I mean, you could definitely say that they send a lot of traffic to these newspapers. What do you think? Australia is about to pass a link tax, in effect. This is where they charge Google and Facebook for sending traffic to newspapers and give that money to the newspapers. Google was so upset about this initially, they said, well, in that case, we're just going to turn off Google search in Australia. But they caved. They made a deal with Rupert Murdoch, and I guess other publishers too, to pay them an unnamed amount of money. They're going to, it's one of those deals where, we're going to work together on a bunch of, but really what the bottom line is, we're going to, we'll give you some money so you don't, make us do this. Facebook took the other tack. They said, all right, fine. And they have banned news links in Australia on Facebook. There's no more news on Facebook, which actually I don't think is a bad thing. It kind of hurts Australian health authorities because their stuff's not there anymore either. Australian government, that's not there either, as well as all the news sources. That's all gone. It's just your family and friends, what Facebook, I think, originally kind of promised, family and friends. Turns out, though, maybe about a quarter of all Australians, maybe 20%, get their news from Facebook. That's it. They're going to – so we'll see. Maybe they'll go back to reading the newspaper. Uh-huh. Australians are hopping mad. Especially the government. They said, well, we want to charge you a tax. No, you're not going to charge us a tax. We're just not going to have any news. Google's decided to make a deal. I think, in some ways, people were mad at Google because they caved. I think it's just the way of the world, Somebody has a problem, you work it out, you negotiate. Google said, all right, we make a lot of money. We could probably give you a little bit. Rupert's happy. Facebook went for the nuclear option and turned off all news in Australia. Oh, I'd love to hear from some Australians about how you feel about that. I kind of say good on Facebook. That's fine. That's their business. They say, well, we don't really need news to make Facebook worthwhile. Fine. You want to charge us to link back to your papers? Fine. This happened in Spain. They started to charge a link tax to Google. So Google turned off links to Spanish news publications in Spain. And they cried uncle pretty quick because all of a sudden all the traffic to their sites disappeared. It's an interesting story. It's a story of modern times. And I think really it isn't Google's or Facebook's fault. It's the way of the world. That's the internet. Internet is a disruptive force. It's disruptive to my business, to radio. It's disruptive to TV. It's really disruptive to cable companies. I'd be interested to see if cable companies decide to charge a Google tax. That would be interesting. What do you think? 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Let's get the conversation started. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, no, don't worry. You can still reach me. All you have to do is use Skype or something like that to call. 888-827-5536. go to the phones in just a second. There she is, ladies and gentlemen, the woman hanging on the telephone waiting for your call. The unbreakable phone angel, Kimmy Schaffer. Hello, Kim.
She stumped me on that one.
I know, but it began just perfectly with the phone ringing. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I am well. What's up in your world? Anything new?
Nothing as exciting as in yours.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah, I think.
I'm shocked you haven't mentioned it yet. We were just saying that in here.
Yeah.
I said, are you waiting till tomorrow with Sam?
Well, I'll certainly talk about it with Sam.
That would be some amazing self-restraint.
We live in difficult times, and
Yes,
I don't want to boast about the fact that I got a new car.
Okay, so we could just talk to somebody who had a bad experience with a company.
Boy, that's a downer.
But I think he sued him and won. And
I did get a new car. I'll just say this. And it's interesting from a technology point of view because it's an electric vehicle. It's the first, I think, really from ground up electric vehicle from an American car company. Ford, the Mustang Mach-E. I got it last Wednesday, and I quite like it. I'm very happy. But I don't want to boast. It's just, but I will, we'll talk about the technology and so forth. It's interesting.
Sounds good.
So who should I speak to?
Let's go to Steve in L.A.
Steve.
Wants to share an experience with you.
Steve is on the line from L.A. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I wanted to tell you about an experience I had with an internet provider. Made arrangements for them to come and install internet in my home. And they gave me a 2-hour time window. They said, we're required to give you a 4-hour time window, but since we provide such wonderful service, we're going to only give you a 2-hour time window.
Aren't they fantastic?
I will make a very long story short.
Did they show up in the 2-hour window?
No.
No. What a surprise.
The bottom line is they didn't show up at all.
Oh.
I was in touch with them throughout the day.
Wow.
And I was communicating, I believe, with people probably offshore. And they kept telling me the technician is on the way, the technician is on the way, the technician is on the way. And 6 hours later, the technician was still on the way, but never showed up.
Oh.
A friend of mine told me about a law in California, Civil Code 1722, which provides the consumer the ability to go ahead and sue a company like this.
Wow.
The interesting thing is that this law caps the damages at $600.
Okay.
So in reality, I think what the state was trying to do was really to protect the communications companies by making sure that they don't get judgments in excess of $600. So what looks on its face to be a consumer protection is really a protection for the communications companies. So I took advantage of that. I sued them in small claims court. By the way, they eventually did come and install the service about a week later. But nonetheless, I told them when I was talking to their customer service people while I was waiting for the tech, I said, look, I'm familiar with this law. I intend to sue your company if they don't show up. And I did.
Good
so
for
I
you. Did you get $600?
Plus my court costs.
Oh, nice. Did you hire an attorney? No, you did it yourself.
No, did it myself.
Yeah.
And that's it. I just thought it's important to know that there are some consumer protections out there, and people should take advantage of them and maybe teach these poor service companies a lesson from time to time.
It is frustrating, isn't it? I think $600 seems about fair for a wasted afternoon, but I mean, how much would you have asked for if you could have asked for anything?
Not more than that.
Yeah.
I think that was a fair number.
Yeah. And it might, I don't know what the limit is now on small claims court. It might have to do with that as well. They want to discourage you from tying up the courts with the big courts, the big boy courts with a lawsuit. Good for you. Congratulations. You want to say why? But before you go, why don't you tell me the name of the company so we can shame them in public?
Well, it starts with an A and it ends with a T.
A-T. What's in the middle? Another T, maybe? Okay.
Yeah, and an ampersand.
Lately, they've been leaving the ampersand out. Okay, good. I'm glad. You know what? No one likes these big telephone companies. Nobody likes the telecommunications companies, the cable companies, the phone companies, even the mobile companies, because they all have universally bad service. Maybe I also want to give the benefit. I'm a benefit of the doubt guy. Maybe the installer got abducted by aliens. It could happen. And, maybe just got, lost track of time. I don't know. Sometimes, and you have to admit this, when a installer comes to your house, it's very unpredictable how much time he's going to have to spend. So sometimes, and I've had this happen, it's a 5-hour job, and he's caught between a rock and a hard place. I think what AT&T should do is dispatch another installer, but this guy is either going to leave this current customer in the lurch and say, well, I can't finish because I don't have time, I have to go to the next guy, or finish the job and leave the next guy hanging. Customer service is probably the hardest thing in the world, I think. It's expensive. They're not charging you in most cases for these calls, but it costs them a lot to what they call roll a truck. I think a lot of this comes down to, I noticed the same thing. There's a lot of ire about the password company. We've done a lot of ads for them. I use them, LastPass, because they cut back on the free tier a little bit, not a lot. And I think in the normal course of events, it would have been, well, yeah, I still get something for free, but not everything for free. But I think there was pent-up anger, and there's certainly pent-up anger over telecommunications. Everybody hates them. And so I think there's somewhat of a disproportionate reaction. You go to the doctor's office. It's not unusual for the doctor to keep you waiting these days. It's hard to get everything done in time, I guess, and you can't really schedule everything. Not showing up at all is kind of low, especially presuming you're having a problem that needs to be fixed, right? You might be left without the internet. So I have mixed feelings about this. I think we're more angry than we would normally be because after a series of abusive situations, there is a last straw. It's like, that's it. What is that? From the straw that broke the camel's back. You kept piling hay on the camel until finally that last one little itty bitty straw, and boom. The straw by itself, things happen. But you add that up to all the insults and injury over the years. In fact, for the cable companies and for the telecom companies, not so much for phone companies, but for cable companies, the prices have just been going up and up and up so crazy. I understand when people be upset. I really do. So good on you. I'm glad and you know what? You probably helped other people because they're going to think twice, aren't they? Scott Wilkinson, home theater guy, coming up next. I am so proud of Mint Mobile, our sponsor. We've been doing Mint Mobile ads for some time now, more than a year, I think. And I just saw first of all, Ryan Reynolds, their new owner, is he not awesome? Is he not awesome? He does the best TV ads. Deadpool. He does the best TV ads. And I just saw that they have increased the amount of data you get without increasing the price. I just think that there is a company that is good to their customers. There is a telecom company, a wireless company that's good to their customers, and especially when it comes to saving money. Mint Mobile. They're the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, and that's how they save money. They don't have stores, but who needs a store? Mint Mobile has plans starting at $15 a month. And you see they just increased the amount of data you get. I think it's 4 gigabytes of data a month for $15 a month. Plus unlimited, all their plans have unlimited nationwide talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. So if you get, T-Mobile service where you are, You will be, which, by the way, everybody does now that they've merged with Sprint. The T-Mobile service is excellent. I'm a T-Mobile customer, but I'm overpaying. That's why I've got my Mint Mobile. You know what's great? I bought the iPhone SE on Mint Mobile for $15 a month plus $15 a month for the plan. That's 30. This phone is $30 a month, including the phone, and I'm paying 3 times that to T-Mobile, and I don't get a phone. If you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with a 7-day money-back guarantee. If you have a phone you want to use, don't worry. Mint Mobile will send you the SIM, and they don't, unlike everybody else, they don't charge you for that. They don't charge you to send you the SIM. No. It's a really good deal. These are good people. Premium wireless service starting at $15 a month. They have an unlimited plan. They have more data if you want it. It's just a no-brainer. You save, you get great service, unlimited nationwide talk and text, and then you choose the data plan you want. But start at $15 a month for 4 gigabytes a month. That's enough, I think, for almost everybody. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door free, go to mintmobile.com/techguy. And by the way, you can get your phone number ported. You don't lose that. Your contacts come with it. It's just the easiest way, and it's kind of my secret for getting phone service for family members. You know, you get a great deal. Mintmobile.com/techguy. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month. Imagine that, or get a new iPhone for $30 a month. Mintmobile.com/techguy. $30 a month, including unlimited nationwide talk and text. I don't know how they do that. 4 gigabytes of data. It's a great deal. Mintmobile.com/techguy. Thank you, Mint Mobile, for supporting all of our shows, but especially appreciate you supporting the Tech Guy podcast. And if you're listening to the show, you do me a favor by using that special address. Mint Mobile, only if you want it. Mintmobile.com/techguy. What is hip? It's this cat right here, man. It's Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek, and he joins us every week to talk about audio, video, TVs, and the like. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. Happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday. So you got a review in your on the techhive.com, where you're a contributor, of a new pair of headphones. Now, the last headphones you reviewed were the $3,000 Stellias. $3,000
from
Stellias.
Focal, $3,000, and I've got a couple more coming up. They're in the pipeline, and they're similarly expensive.
Yeah, but you said they were
fantastic.
worth it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But these headphones,
spend that kind of money.
Yeah, if you got $3,000 to throw away, go for it. These headphones not quite so unbelievably expensive. Tell me about. Not
quite so expensive. No. But they're very, very, very good. They're from a company called Grado, which I think you've heard of.
I have Grados, yeah.
Grado, very interesting company, actually. They began.
Can you turn off your video, Scott? Once again, we're having bandwidth issues.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. It's a radio show. I like to see you, but
yeah, not necessary.
See, you sound great now. So
anyway,
the Grados have been for years have been pro audio, really good quality for a good price, I think. Yeah.
Correct. And they're made in the U.S. They're handmade in Brooklyn, New York.
Well, and you gotta like that.
1950. Well, headphone. Yeah, and they've been making headphones since 1991. They started in the 50s making phono cartridges, right, for turntables.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But now they're way into headphones. And they've been there for 30 years. And these are their first wireless headphones. They use Bluetooth. You can connect them up with a wire, but you don't have to. They have Bluetooth. Now, what's really interesting about these is that they're the only ones I know of that have Bluetooth, but do not have active noise cancellation, right? So active noise cancellation basically takes external sounds, like if you're on a plane, the rumble of the engines, and it does a thing called phase inversion, which basically reduces the level of that external sound while still giving you the sound of the music that you're listening to from your iPhone or whatever. These headphones don't do that. And Grado says the reason that they decided not to do that, that was a conscious decision, is that active noise cancellation, or ANC, can often degrade the sound quality of what you are listening to. And
Yes,
that's true.
I
I've
agree.
heard that many times.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So they said, you know what? We want quality. We want sound quality. We don't want this noise cancellation.
Noise
So they
cancellation
didn't
makes sense if you're in a jet airplane. Not that anybody
Correct.
is these days. But if you're in a jet airplane or if you're in a noisy environment, but that's not an ideal listening environment for high-quality audio. Presumably,
That's correct.
if you're going to wear these headphones, I'm sure the Stellias didn't have active noise cancellation either.
No, they don't. That's correct.
If you're listening for audio, you're going to listen in a quiet place, your living room or something.
Presumably so.
Yeah.
Now, these headphones also are what are called on-ear. That is, they don't have the wraparound ear pad that seals your ear. That provides something called passive noise isolation or acoustic isolation.
Right.
So it does give you some relief from external sounds, but these don't even do that. They just rest on the ear with foam ear pads. Do you remember a headphone company? They still make headphones called Sennheiser.
Remember them? Have people forgotten Sennheiser?
Well, you don't see as much of
I guess
them
not.
these days.
But yeah, those famous yellow Sennheisers.
Yep. I
Every
used them
radio
for
station in the
years.
world had those. Yeah.
That's right. I used them for years in my home recording studio. Well, these are very much like that, but except for the fact that they have Bluetooth, so you can use them wirelessly.
Yeah.
And man, they sound good. In a quiet environment, you are kind of limited because if you're in a noisy environment, you're going to hear all the noise around you. But in a quiet environment, these sound great.
Grados always
fantastic.
sound good. It's interesting that at a cost of half what the Apple headphones cost, I really want you to review the Apple Airpods Max at some point if you can get one.
I would love to.
$550
I would
bucks.
love to.
They do have ANC, active noise cancellation. They have Bluetooth, just like these Grados. They also have a wired mode, just like the Grados.
Just like
Apple
the Grados.
charges you an extra $30 for the wire, which cracks me up.
Oh, man. Well, here's the thing about the Grados. They are the only ones I know of that charge you extra for a hard shell case.
Yeah.
To go
Apple
with
does
them,
that
which
as
is-
well. In fact, they don't even offer a hard
man.
shell case. They offer effectively an AirPod Max brassiere. That's what it looks like. It doesn't protect the headpods. In fact, the headphones, the band sticks out. But the whole point of it is got a magnet in it, and so it puts the phones to sleep. It's dopey.
Oh.
It's dopey. Other
Okay,
companies are
that's kinda
making a
dopey.
hard
I'd rather
shell
have
case.
a hard case.
Yeah,
right?
me too,
Hard
of
shell
course,
case.
to protect them.
Grado offers it, but it's another $40.
Yeah. But a
So-
lot of people, I would guess, especially because it doesn't have noise cancellation, are keeping them next to the stereo. Some people, make little headphone stands. They put it on there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need a hard
You can
shell
even buy
case.
one of those from Grado, too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that makes sense. Do they at least
does make
include the
some
wire?
Yes, they do include the
Thank you.
wire.
See?
And a Bluetooth charging cable as well.
Oh, nice.
It's got a USB-C charging port, so you just plug it into a USB charger and it charges up. And the battery life is really good. It gives you like 40 hours
Right.
of active playing time. So
I think Grado is making
really
a
good.
concession to the demand for Bluetooth because Bluetooth degrades the sound far worse than ANC does. I mean, it's another source
Well,
of high compression.
it is high compression, although they do offer Bluetooth 5.0, which is the latest version of Bluetooth, and aptX and AAC codecs, which
Okay.
are high-quality codecs.
Those are better, yeah.
So you're getting you're getting a better quality Bluetooth experience than others.
So you can
might
use
offer.
AAC over Bluetooth. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
nice.
You can.
Yeah. Still
And aptX,
compressed, of course.
AAC, it's still compressed. It's not lossless. But for my testing, I always go to Tidal. This streaming service called Tidal, and they have a part of their section is called master libraries, which are uncompressed. So I don't start with a compressed file that then gets more compressed when it
Right.
goes over Bluetooth. I start with the highest possible quality sound, which in my case is Tidal Master, and that gives me uncompressed audio. It gets compressed by Bluetooth, but not as much. And I have to say, these cans sounded great. Really, really good.
Yeah, I think
and one cool thing about the open back, the fact that they aren't sealed on the back, is that the sound stage, that is the sense of width of the sound that you're listening to, is much greater. It's got a more open sound than even the Stelias.
What?
Because those are closed
Oh,
back.
interesting.
So the headphone, there's no sound. Now, granted, that means that some sound comes out of the back of the headphones.
Yeah, that's
into
why
the room you're
I
in.
wear closed-ear headphones on the radio because I don't want any squeaking from the
Right. Now, on the
feedback.
radio,
Yeah.
that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Although Grado, I will say, has spent a lot of time reducing the amount of sound that comes out the back.
interesting.
Such to the point that my wife Joanna, we're recording some new music. She's using them while she's tracking vocals.
Oh, interesting.
And it's not being a problem into the microphone.
Yeah, sound coming out the
so-
back is wasted. So, you
exactly.
want it all going into your ear holes.
Right. On the other hand, these have a beautiful open, wide open sound.
Nice.
It's really good.
$250.
For
The
two-
Grado GWI 00, or is it GW100?
Actually, 100.
Okay.
GW100. Yeah, it's the font.
And read all about it at techhive.com by Scott Wilkinson, our home theater geek. Thank you, Scott.
You bet.
So, leave the. I guess we'll just leave the video off, and you can take the con. People will
Thank
hear
you so
you.
much.
That's all that really matters.
I know. I mean, I want to solve this problem. I have to get with John and see if we can solve this problem.
Yeah,
I have no idea why.
it's a bandwidth issue.
It's a bandwidth issue,
Yeah.
but I've got 20 megabits up here.
Yeah, that should be
And
more
nobody
than
else
enough.
using the computer.
Yeah.
Nobody else is using the network right
Well,
now.
we'll figure it out. Anyway, all yours for 3 minutes, 31 seconds. I'll put the clock in the window there so you can see.
Let's see. Twisted Mr. Tidal non-master is not compressed at CD quality 44116. Actually, that's Tidal Hi-Fi. Tidal has several tiers. One is master, which is more than CD quality and uncompressed. So 4824 or 9624. MQA, lossless compression is there. But then they have Hi-Fi, which is uncompressed 44116. And then they have what they call normal, which is compressed. So that's the actual story there. And Anode says MQA is folded, aka compressed. It's true, it's compressed, but it's losslessly compressed. Say that 3 times fast. It doesn't lose any data. So that's the story on MQA. It's not bit for bit. No, I guess it's not. It's been a while since I've looked into MQA. I was pretty convinced it was not lossy, though. I have to look into that. I'll have to look into it. If it's not bit for bit, then it is lossy. So I have to look into that a little bit. Let's see. Web 3545 bought 48-inch LG OLED TV. Love it in my workout room. Hooked up to an Apple TV. When I try to use Apple Fitness on Demand, the TV starts to stutter. Apparently, this is a common problem, and it can't be fixed without either LG or Apple fixing their software, which neither has done. Well, that's frustrating. I hadn't heard of that before. Apple TV on an LG OLED. And only on Apple Fitness, not on other TV shows. That would be a little surprising, although I guess it's the Apple Fitness software. Chumley has an LG C8. Love it. Good. Glad to hear it. I would too. Seeing good deals once in a while on other C8 or C9. Is there enough actual difference to get a newer LG at full price? Yes, there is, and that is in the video processing. The OLED panel is not much different, but the video processing has improved year to year. So to me, that's worth it. To you, it might not be. But the video processing has improved significantly year to year. And I do know, I just recently learned for a fact that LG C series and above OLEDs use LG's own in-house designed processor. I'm not sure if the C8 or C9 do, but the CX, C10 does. The C9 might, maybe the C8 too. I think that may be their alpha processor. In any event, that's the scoop there.
Thank you, Scott. Talk at the top.
You betcha.
Thank you, sir. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 88. Ask Leo. I said I wouldn't talk about the new car, but one of the things I thought was really interesting, and this is a technology I think we're going to see more and more. Apple has a car key software built in. It only works with the BMW right now, but other cars I imagine will start to use it, where your phone becomes your key. And Ford is doing the same thing with the Mach-E. They call it My Key, I think. I don't carry a fob with me. I get closer to the car, and over Bluetooth, I think Bluetooth LE, it recognizes that I'm near within about 10 feet, lights up, says hello, and then I can open the door and get in and drive off. Which made me nervous a little bit. They only give you one key fob, and it made me nervous that you can have up to 4 phones. So you can have 4 keys on your phone. But I thought, well, lose my phone. I don't know. Something doesn't work. I'm a little nervous. You know how it is. You don't want to depend on that. I could get stranded. So they give you a password. This cracked me up. You can, if you don't have your fob, your normal key fob, you don't have your phone, but you want to drive the car, there is a keypad on the door. You can enter your keypad on the door, get in, get stuff out or whatever. You can't drive it, though, because you don't have a key unless you enter the password. And I tried to make it, monkey 1, 2, 3, something simple, and they wouldn't let me. They wanted a long, strong, complex password, which I entered. So I think this is a first, a car you drive with a password. And it just cracks me up. One more password to remember. Unfortunately, there's no way to put that in LastPass. I guess I could. I'd have to manually enter it. Yeah, I could do that. Maybe I better, because I know I'll forget it. As some of you know, because I've mentioned it, I have a Bitcoin wallet. I have the wallet. It's just a little bit of a little file on a disk. Wallet.dat. I have the wallet, but when I created it 10 years ago, maybe, I don't know, 8 years ago, it was when Bitcoin first happened. I password protected it, which is, of course, good advice. I encourage you always to do that. Except I forgot mine. Didn't record it in my password vault. There are 7.85 Bitcoin in there. Bitcoin is now worth $57,000, and I am not going to do the calculation because it's getting close to $500,000 that I have, but it cannot access. Can you imagine that? I'm not alone. This is unfortunately common. There was a guy who put it on a hard drive, because that little file isn't very big, but it was on a hard drive, accidentally threw out the hard drive. Now he's offering the municipality a significant percentage, millions of dollars, if they could just help him find it in the town dump. Help me look through the trash, please. I just need to find my hard drive. 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Martin on the line from Hayward, Wisconsin, it looks like. Hi, Martin.
Hello, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
It was 30 below here last week, so it's warmed up above 20 now, so we're enjoying the night.
Oh, it's practically spring.
Get the shorts out. Hey, I got a backup strategy question for you.
Sure.
A couple years ago, I looked at Synology and was going to implement a NAS for a backup, but looked at it and thought it was too expensive, so I bought 2 Seagate 4-terabyte personal cloud NASs for under $100, and I put one in my home, one in my vacation home. and Seagate provides a Windows 10 app that maps the NAS, both the remote and the local, to a drive letter. So my backup strategy was to use Robocopy and mirror the two devices with Windows Task Schedule. Worked great.
Yeah.
This week I got an email from Seagate saying, quote, as of May 15, 2021, the Seagate Access feature of the Seagate NAS products will be discontinued. So I don't know if I got two boat anchors now.
No.
They both say that I can still access it with FTP, which I spent most of the morning trying to open ports to do port forwarding. But I do have access now.
Oh, that's good.
What's a good backup strategy that would be like Robocopy? Because I don't want to copy every file over every night.
Right. So the thing that Seagate was offering was the ability to mount these drives locally, even though they're at least one of them's not local. And in order for that to work without any port forwarding, now to get around the router, they have to use something called Nat Traversal, which means, in effect, there's a Seagate server out there, and it acts as an intermediary. So your drive at your vacation home is connected to that. Your Windows PC at home is connected to that. It figures out where stuff is. But there are other ways to do that kind of thing. Typically, network drive mapping is not routable. You don't want it to be routable for security reasons. So the built-in SMB on Windows I don't think is routable. But there are other ways to mount that drive as a network drive. There are network file systems, things like that are designed to do exactly that. FTP works too. I guess to some degree you're limited by what Seagate allows you to do in the software on that thing. If you've got FTP, can you in effect make that drive a drive letter as if you can you can see it?
I can for the local, but I can't for the remote.
You can't. Yeah, you have to use FTP locally to connect to the FTP server on the remote drive, right, and then send it. So what you really want is a sync program. Robocopy actually is not intended to be a sync program. It comes with all versions of Windows. It's just Robo stands for not robot, but robust, because the copy command built into DOS and Windows was so unreliable. They felt they had to do a better one for people who really needed it. But there are lots of third-party synchronization programs. I use a program called Second Copy. But what we need to do is find one with FTP built in. If you could, you should check to see what the capabilities are on that Seagate. If it can do tunneling of some kind, VPN or Hamachi or some kind of tunneling, you could mount it and use Dyn DNS or some sort of third party to figure out what the IP address. The reason that this is a problem is because IP addresses move around. They're not guaranteed. And so you can't just, if you had a static IP address at both ends, you wouldn't need to do Nat Traversal. You could just say, well, I know exactly where on the internet that Seagate is, and I can connect to it. I really like, there's a number of synchronization programs. The key is you've got to do it in a way that the Seagate remotely will work with. Did they mention any other protocols, or is it just FTP?
Well, it was a pretty terse email, but it was FTP.
I would do some research to see if there's anything a little bit more flexible. But if not, let me do some searching. I bet we can find a sync program that supports FTP. It would have to. Is it FTP or SCP? Do you know offhand? Or is it? It must be
FTP.
It's not SFTP.
No, it's F.
Yeah. So FTP is not secure.
Right. That's the other reason I didn't like it.
Yeah. There is a secure version, which is SFTP, and then there's an even better version based on SSH called a SCP. Those are secure. I'm concerned about just FTP.
Yeah, I am too. And I tried Free File Sync as a sync program, but some of those did not sync the timestamps on the directories, and that's why I liked Robocop.
Yeah. Somebody's saying FileZilla will do programmable. You want kind of programmable FTP. FileZilla is a open source for a long time FTP program. But I'm concerned that to leave an FTP server open on the public internet is not a good thing unless So this is why we use Synology. I know it's a lot more expensive. I don't blame you. You know, Seagate basically is selling their terabyte drives. That's their goal. Let me look into it. I have to run, but let me look into it. There might be a solution to this. Who knows? Maybe even iDrive works on it. Yeah, I would look in. It must be a white paper or something that Seagate has somewhere that says what the capabilities are of that drive.
Yeah, I'd really like to keep using them as long as they were.
Well, what you could do is manually just swap them, or maybe not bring it all the way to the vacation home. But every Sunday, you unplugged one, plugged in the other one, and brought that one to work or somewhere off-site. You'd get much of the benefit of that.
Yeah, that's doable. Yeah.
Then at least you'd get an off-site backup. It would be no more than whatever time period you used for your rotation, a week old, say.
But basically just treating them as a USB external drive.
Yeah. Essentially, that's what that is. I mean, the reason these are so inexpensive is Seagate has a lot of 4 terabyte drives. I have one of them, too. I love them. And they threw a little stuff on there that made it, do that. But obviously, they're not making enough money to support what has got to be a very inexpensive Nat Traversal server. I mean, it could be a laptop in a closet. It doesn't have to be, well, anyway, they decided to terminate that. So that's the problem. FTP, it must, do you have to, see, the problem with FTP is it sends in the clear, so anybody who is in between you two can see what you're doing. But more importantly, it's hackable, because you're publishing an FTP server, and that's not the most secure thing to do on the public internet.
No, and I'm backing up my OneDrive local copy, which has all my finances and tax information. So.
Yeah, you don't want to get your social on there.
No.
So, I mean, realistically, you're probably fine. I do notice, because I keep logs of attacks on my Synology and others, people are always trying things like FTP passwords because they know it's insecure. Mm-hmm. You could you might be able to put it on a non-canonical port. Doesn't really do much, but instead of 22, put it, on 220 or 2200 or something like that. That'll help a little bit, but people just scan looking for FTP responses.
So I should probably start looking at Synology videos and make the plunge, huh?
Maybe. What I would first do is look into the Seagate's capabilities. For instance, if you could say only accept FTP from this IP address, that'd be a huge improvement.
Yeah.
You could also you could pre-encrypt the data that's being sent, which would also protect you, and there are ways to do that. Look at FileZilla, which is an FTP program. I would bet you there are some FTP programs that would support this syncing.
Without copying every file, they would just
Yeah. I mean, I use second copy. You declare what you want to sync,
okay.
And usually it's by folder, not by individual file, but by folder. You wouldn't want to go file by file, would you? Yes, you do. I could tell. There are other things to look at. It all is going to depend on what's supported by the Seagate. Sync Thing, which is free, is wonderful, but it probably isn't supported by the Seagate. Somebody's mentioning Resilio Sync, which is a commercial version of the same thing. It used to be BitTorrent Sync. Again, though, it has to be supported on both sides.
Right.
And my suspicion is if they mentioned FTP, that's probably the only thing it can do.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Sorry. We'll keep looking, and I would look. There must be somewhere documentation of what you can do on that thing. Scott Wilkinson, I will put a clock up just for you, and you will have 5 minutes.
Thank you.
A wonderful 5 minutes of airtime. Here you go. Ooh. If we had to charge you for this, it would cost millions.
Millions.
Enjoy.
Millions. Okay, let's see. Where can I see that? If I go to Chrome. Oh, there it is. Okay. I can see you. You just can't see me. So 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Hey, everybody. We've been talking about a couple things here in the chat room. Very interesting. In particular, a couple people have asked about doing a comparison of the different types of Bluetooth codecs, which I think is a great idea. I love this idea. The problem is I need to have some way to take a song and ideally a track that is not compressed, highest quality possible, and send it to my Bluetooth headphones using a selectable codec. SBC is the standard one, most lossy, I think. One of the most lossy anyway. And then aptX and AAC, and see if I can hear a difference. It's a great idea. I'm not quite sure what sort of device to use that I can say, send it in AAC, send it in aptX, send it in SBC. I'm not quite sure what kind of device I could use to do that. Somebody here, who was it? Anode said you can choose the codec in the developer options on your phone. Okay. I've never looked at the developer options on my phone. I'd have to go look and see how to do that. Beatmaster said a similar thing. Use a reference file with the highest quality available with a device that has support for all the different Bluetooth codecs. Yes, exactly. But how do I select which codec it is? That's the question. And what device would let me do that? Anode says that my phone would let me do that. I've never tried it, so I'd have to go figure out how to do that. But I could certainly do it. Twisted Mister was also mentioning that MQA, Master Quality Authenticated, which is a compression scheme used on Tidal and elsewhere for high-res audio, is in fact lossy. It is not lossless. And in fact, I've been doing a little research. I used to know this stuff, but it's been some years. And Twisted Mister is right. It is lossy, but they go through some pretty sophisticated machinations to recover much of the high-resolution audio information, or at least reconstruct it, I should say. Now, there's a great article that I'm actually reading now. It's really long, so I'm not going to get to all of it during this few minutes, but it's on Ars Technica, arstechnica.com, called MQA Explained, Everything You Need to Know About High-Res Audio. How has MQA stuffed 24-bit 96 kilohertz music into CD audio file sizes? And does it even matter? This is a great article, but it's like 8,000 words long. So I'm going to, and it's pretty dense. You know, this is a very sophisticated thing that Bob Stewart at MQA, formerly Meridian, has created. It's really good. And Bob is one of the smartest audio guys I know. So I have great faith in it, but I do want to understand it. And I used to understand it better than I do now. So, you know, the mind is an amazing thing. Memory, if you don't use something, you lose it. And you have to relearn it. And I haven't thought about MQA in a long time, so I'm going to have to restudy that particular thing. M. Heiss, Mike, yes, try talking to Qualcomm. They have might be able to help. They do aptX, certainly. You know, it's a good question. And pretty soon I'm going to have something to talk about with Qualcomm as well on the show. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you, Scott.
You bet, Leo.
See you
Take
next
care.
week. Bye-bye. Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. You know who you are. Nice to see you. This is the show where we talk about, I hope you know who you are. We talk about computers, the internet, home theater, FTP, SSH, SCP, EIO. If you have a desire to understand these acronyms and more, this is the place. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, please don't hesitate. Just use Skype and shouldn't cost you anything. 8888 Ask Leo. Still looking for somebody from Australia to comment on Facebook's abandonment of Australia. Somebody in the chat room pointed out that the Australian Broadcasting Company, ABC, in Australia, very rapidly became the #1 downloaded app. People said, well, if I'm not going to get news on Facebook, I guess I'll have to download the ABC app, which I'm sure makes ABC happy and kind of confirms Well, or does it? Because it's not the newspaper publishers. But, their future is probably dim. I hate to say it. I think a small town paper is probably the last place you can get coverage of things like city council meetings and, planning commission and so forth information. And I think that's important. Local government is the most immediate government. And, I guess you might be lucky enough if you're in a big enough city, you have your own radio station talking about that. But these small town newspapers are so important, and it's very tough to survive in the internet world. There are some attempts to do internet local news like Patch, and they're struggling too, to be honest. I think a lot of people get almost all of their local news from Nextdoor.com, which is a social network for you and your neighborhood. Do you get your local news from that? There's problems with that too. That's not, driven by, okay, now you're going to make fun of me. But I do think journalists, there's a certain amount of training required to do good journalism, especially, you have to think about things like balance and ethics and stuff normal people just don't think about. They just write what they see or feel. I don't know, maybe that's an old-fashioned concept. You tell me. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go. Let's say hi to Jeff. He's in New York, New York. They have their own newspaper, I believe. Hello, Jeff.
Yeah, they have a couple. So How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Kind of ironic. You just talked to Scott. You guys helped me a while back about an outdoor TV.
Oh yeah, what'd you get and what'd you do?
I just got a Toshiba 55-inch smart TV with the Fire Stick, and I got the Storm Shield cover.
Perfect.
I tested it all through winter, and it's been working good.
Perfect.
For like 10 days.
So you got a regular TV, but you got a special cover to keep it safe from the elements.
Yeah, a company called Storm Shield. They're pretty good.
Yeah, good.
Worked really well. So
Thanks for that.
My question is, thank you. I got an M1 Mac Mini.
Yeah.
And I really like it.
Me too, yeah.
One of my friends suggested, because it has 8 gigs of memory, that I get this hub. It's made by a company, HAGIBIS, from Amazon, and I was just wondering your thoughts on it, because you could add memory to it. It also has some USB ports in it too. So
yeah, that's not going to be memory that's going to be usable for you as RAM. In fact, I'm not sure why they include RAM on that. The reason, yeah. So the M1 platform for Mac, the new processor, has RAM on the actual chip itself. It's called Unified Memory Architecture. It's very fast. It's one of the reasons we speculate, we're not sure, but we speculate that the lower amount of RAM on a Mac might not be as much of a problem as one would think. The iPhone traditionally has been very scant with RAM. And for a long time, it was just 2 gigs, and I think it's now 4 gigs. Because it's so close to the main processor, and because Apple is designing both the hardware and the software, their RAM requirements may not be as big unless you're using something that needs to store stuff in RAM. Photoshop's a classic example. Every layer you add, every modification you make requires a duplication of that photo. Photos these days are big, many megabytes, maybe 40, 50 megabytes. So every time you do a layer, you're adding another 40 or 50 megabytes. You can quickly run out of memory. Are you doing that kind of thing with your Mac Mini?
Yeah, we're storing a lot of family pictures. We got rid of the old PC that the kernel was an issue, and we're kind of using first-time Mac users. And
do you know it's a slowdown? I mean, are you worried about it being sluggish?
Yeah, but I know the M1 fixes that a little bit. But I figured, this is very intriguing. You put an SATA drive in there, and it also has a hub. But I was wondering if it voids the warranty, or if you have... No. It's just, think of it as storage, though. It's not going to be that fast. Is it a Thunderbolt 3 hub? I looked at it. Yeah, there's a USB 3.0 and a couple.
That's different. That's the USB 3.0. So that's not very fast. It's not nearly as fast as RAM. So think of it as extra storage, not as extra RAM.
Okay. All right. It's a nice little hub. It's like overrated.
HAGIBIS, Hagibis?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now it's HAGIBIS. It's Amazon Pay.
Yeah, it's a Chinese company. They're, You probably can find an identical device from a number of other companies as well, because that's generally what happens. In fact, I'm looking at a Hagibis that looks exactly like the Aoki, which is another Chinese company. The problem with these USB-C is it's not as fast as Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt isn't as fast as RAM, but it would be a lot faster. You're talking on this 5 gigabits per second. That's not a lot of throughput, not enough to replace RAM. So think of it as storage.
Right. All right. Perfect.
It's nice. It's nice. I mean, you don't have as many ports on that Mini as they used to. I have even fewer on my MacBook Pro. I've got 2 USB-C or Thunderbolt 4 ports, and so I have dongles. You got to have dongles. It's part of the Mac experience these days. My suspicion is the next generation Macs, next generation Mac Mini even will have a lot more ports. They're going to have to solve that. They need to. Yeah.
Right. All right. Perfect. I'll order it. I just
nothing wrong with it. The Hagibis, they're not even calling it RAM. I think they're calling it storage. Any external drive would be fine. If you want the ultimate speed, you should look for a Thunderbolt 3 drive, but they are very expensive.
Okay. Yeah, because it says I can put an external drive. I was wondering if I...
Yeah, you can, but it's going to be only 5 gigabits per second. The USB 3.1 is 10 gigabits per second. Now we're talking. USB 4, which is essentially what you have on that Mac, is now we're talking up to 40 gigabits per second. That's much more like an internal hard drive would be. Nowhere near what RAM would be.
Perfect. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Yeah. There are a lot of these now. I would love, to have the speed of Thunderbolt on this thing, but you're going to go from $50 to $500. You're going to go to a big difference. Let's see. Here's Cal Digits got a Thunderbolt hub, 8 ports, 4 Thunderbolt, 4 or USB 4. Those are kind of the same thing now in terms of speed. 40 gigs per second, which is, that's about as fast as your internal drive. I'm scrolling. They put the price somewhere on this. way down, because I know it's going to be expensive. Where is it? Maybe I have to go to shop. Let's go to shop and see how much that's going to cost. United States. Well, that's not bad. They're 4 Thunderbolt USB 4 ports, $140. That's pre-order. That's not bad at all. That's actually encouraging. It's about $100 less than their Thunderbolt 3 dock. So that tells me that the licensing expense for USB 4 is lower. That's good news. So $140, you get 4 Thunderbolt 4 or USB 4 ports, 4 USB 3.2 second generation 10 gigabit ports, dual 4K monitor support at 60 hertz, 60-watt charging. Not bad. That's CalDigit. The second shipment sold out. Third shipment is shipping mid-April. Yeah, obviously there's some demand for this. And as with a lot of tech stuff these days, I'm sad to say we're really going through a chip shortage, and they can't make as many as they can sell. Nobody can these days, especially graphics cards, but devices like this even. The good news, maybe it's good news. We'll see if anything comes of it. But the president has said they're going to investigate what's going on with these chip shortages and see what they can do. The solution would be to build more factories. Let's build some in the U.S. Why not? That would be a good solution. They're very expensive. There's a Foxconn plant, or it's not Foxconn. There's a plant going in. Maybe it's, yes, it is. It's TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. These guys are making the chips for Apple, for almost everybody, and that's part of the reason that the expense and it's getting harder and harder to find these. TSMC's building a plant in Arizona. That'll help. $12 billion to build the plant. There'll be 600 new employees there. $12 billion, and it won't be ready for some time, like 3 years. It's expensive, but that is the long-term solution, isn't it? Let's build some plants here. Get some jobs in the U.S. 8888, ask Leo the phone number. Hey, I want to talk about our sponsor of the hour, Casper. Oh, man. You know, I got to show you. Lisa, this drives me nuts. My wife. We're in a little bit of a competition. She sends me her sleep score. She got an 84 last night out of 100. 10 hours of sleep. Because she's in a little bit of a competition, you know. She sleeps well because we have a very, very good mattress. I'm an old guy. I don't sleep quite as well. I still love it. You know that feeling when you get in bed at the end of a long day, you're tired, and the sheets are just right, the mattress is just right. Have you ever done this? It feels so good. I do it every night when I get in my Casper. Of course, I have Casper sheets, Casper pillow. I'm all Casper all the way. My daughter, too. I just sent her. She got a new apartment. I told you the story before, but forgive me for repeating. She said, Dad, I need a bed. I said, no problem. Went to Casper, ordered her the frame, the foundation. That's what they call the box spring. The Casper, original Casper mattress, plus sheets, plus pillows. Less than $1,000 all in. Casper makes the best mattresses, and they cost less because they sell them direct to you. 2021 is your chance to rest harder, sleep smarter, to get sleep scores in the 80s, even the 90s. Casper makes cool, supportive mattresses and super soft bedding that make it all possible. You deserve a great night's sleep. You deserve that. Don't you? Only Casper mattresses are made with 86 supportive gel pods to align your spine and eliminate aches and pains. It's the supportive comfort you need to wake up refreshed and ready to go all year long. We've got the Nova Hybrid. Actually, everybody in my family now has a Casper because we get each one when they come out with it. The Wave Hybrid, that's perfect for people who have aches and pains and want a mattress with maximum support and cooling. That's for Uncle Joe. For the most plush mattress, the Nova Hybrid for a plush feel that doesn't sacrifice support. That's for Mom. And, of course, Abby's got the original mattress, the one for sleepers who want both support and cooling. And every Casper mattress has a 100-day money-back guarantee. Free deliveries and free returns in the U.S., no contact delivery. And if at any point in the first 100 days you're not completely happy, and you will be, you can return it. They return every penny. They come and get it. You don't have to get it back in that small little box. I love my Casper pillow. It's a unique pillow and pillow design, the original Casper pillow. Soft on the outside, supportive on the inside for all night comfort. Casper makes it all, from their super soft percale sheets, Abby loves those, to the all-season down duvets, to their cozy, calming weighted blanket. I haven't tried. That's the only thing I haven't tried yet. I tried the glow. I've done it all. Make 2021 comfortable. Reset your rest. Go to Casper.com/TWiT1. Use a code TWIT and the number 1 for $100 off select mattresses. Terms and conditions apply. Casper.com for more details. That's TWIT1 for $100 off select mattresses at Casper.com/TWIT1. You deserve Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 ask Leo the phone number. I'm your tech guy. I'm here for you. Richard in San Diego, welcome. Hello, Richard.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So, strangely, when I'm checking my settings in Google, quite a number of months ago, it said that I have some issues with passwords, that they've been compromised. It says,
yeah, this is the new thing Google does as a security service.
Is it a security service or is it just torture?
A little of both. So it didn't tell you which passwords?
Well, it does. For example, one is from 3 months ago, and it reads me as 1.19.168 point and so forth. I go, what the heck is that? And I realize, that's my printer scanner.
Oh, okay.
Then
By the way, that might be an issue. You don't want to have, there have been a number of printers that have been hackable. In fact, there was a famous incident where a guy who wanted the YouTube star PewDiePie to become the most subscribed YouTube star, was printing on, it could have been as many as 1 million different printers, subscribe to PewDiePie on your printer. A piece of paper would come out. You go, what is this? So probably good to change that password.
Yeah, and then a couple of the other ones here I'm looking at, it's like, okay, one is my Ancestry.com account. Another one is my iHeartRadio, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And now
and you might not care if somebody, quote, hacks your iHeart account, right? What's the worst they could do? Listen to a lot of music you don't like and have your recommendations change.
They might, but I don't really have anything more.
You don't even care. So like a lot of people, you probably use to save brain juice, to save little white cells, little gray cells. You probably have a non-secure password you use on sites like that. I do.
Chances are the answer is yes.
Yeah.
On most sites, we put in like 15 to 18 character passwords.
Are they different for every site? That's the real nub of the matter. Yes.
Yes.
And the way to do that is to use a password manager. A password manager will both generate good unmemorable, and unmemorable almost always equals good password because it's totally random passwords, and then remember it for you so you don't have to. You remember the one master password. By the way, almost all the good password managers will also go through all your passwords if you've been using it and look for security problems and help you change them. That's what LastPass, for instance, does. So Google's trying to do you a favor by saying this password is showing up on the dark net as a known password. Or this password is so bad that a lot of other people are using it. So if you used monkey123 as a password,
sure,
then you're going to see that. And it's not necessarily that you've been compromised. It's just that you're using a password other people are using. So,
and the strange thing about it, though, that would be the same password, like monkey123. You might be using it for your bank account, and I might be using it for my Access membership to my gym club, for example.
So it would be worse for me than it would be for you if somebody got that.
Not necessarily. But,
I don't want them using my gym, darn it. So,
yeah, exactly.
So it's a good thing that's warning you. Do you use a password manager?
I do not.
I would look at that as a solution for this. And then get in the habit of every time somebody asks you for a password, whether it's an app or a website, you use the password manager to generate a good, long, uncrackable password and remember it. Do both. That way you don't have to worry about it. The problem is if you have to remember your passwords, the tendency is just to reuse them. And most people, I would say more than half the people listening to this show, and they ought to know better because they're listening to this show, half of them, I would guess, are just have one basic password that they reuse. Maybe sometimes they change a thing or two, but that they reuse over and over again. That's inherently problematic. There is a site.
We've gotten away from that. Thank you.
Good. But how do you keep track of these then?
I have them in a special.
You write them down.
File.
Yeah, you either put it on a spreadsheet or something. Okay. That's why a password vault.
It's buried.
That's why a password vault is the best. It's the same thing. It does it, except it writes it down for you, and it encrypts it so that even if somebody discovered it, it'd be useless to them. That's why you want to do that.
How does that work when I want to get, for example, let's just say from my bank on my laptop to the same bank?
So most of the password vaults will sync to multiple devices. This is where the brouhaha over LastPass was. The free version used to sync to one device. Now it doesn't sync to any devices. You have to pay $36 a year, which to me seems like not a huge expense. So it'll sync to all your devices. If there is a good free password manager, it's open source called Bitwarden. If you don't want to pay for a password manager, start with that. It's very secure. But you really should use a password manager. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I always catch it. I always wonder whether you're going to play it. I have a big clock in front of me. So what is it that made you anxious about this Google revelation? We're still on the line, Richard. We're not on the air on the radio, but we're on the podcast. Richard? Oh, I guess he gave up. Richard? Hello, Richard. Yeah, I guess he gave up. So password fault. And most password managers will, he kept saying we. One of the things about we, that means more than one person is using it. A good password manager supports password sharing as well in a secure fashion. So my wife and I use LastPass. And when I sign up, like for the car, okay, perfect example. I had a Ford Pass account. She said, I want a car key. So I said, fine. I shared the Ford Pass account with her. She was able to download the app, use my login credentials because I shared it over LastPass. So she accepted the share. Then LastPass auto-filled it on her phone and was able to create a key for herself. So that's that, and that's done securely. LastPass will also do a security check and tell you where you reused passwords. I believe they now tell you where passwords have been found on the dark net. There's a really good site for that, which we've mentioned before. I'll put this in the show notes, called Have I Been Pwned? Have I Been PWNED? That's the hacker speak. Really would have been better if he hadn't used it, but that's the hacker speak for getting compromised. And at Have I Been Pwned, you can actually enter a password. You can enter an email address and see if that's in a data breach. But then at the top, you'll see passwords. And this is safe, by the way he's done it. And you can enter a password in. In fact, I'll show you what it looks like. This is actually, everybody should know about this. Hi, Johnny. Good to see you.
How you doing, Leo?
I'm well. What's up?
Everything.
Everything's up, man. Everything.
Bitcoin.
Do you have Bitcoin?
Unfortunately, I don't, and you just kind of put me in a bad mood because it reminded me that my buddies have been telling me for years to buy Bitcoin.
If you'd only listened.
Gosh.
So I'm entering monkey123. Let's see if anybody's been using that. Oh, no. This password has been seen 63,325 times. But on the other hand, let me enter, something from LastPass. See if that's been pwned. No. So that's the key. He's been everywhere, man. He's Johnny Jet, our travel guru at johnnyjet.com. That's where you get his travel newsletters, his podcasts, his articles. Hello, Johnny Jet.
Hello. Hopefully you get my deals newsletter because on Sunday last week, American had a deal, and it's been going on for 4 days now. They just ended it, I think, on Thursday. $61 round trip between L.A. and Miami. I bought my first ticket in almost a year now with money. $61. That means they were paying, Americans only getting $29 round trip. So they're getting less than $15 each way. I'm flying on a 777. And
why even bother? Why not just give it away?
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a mistake fare, but for days they just kept going.
They still have to fly that flight probably, right? They don't want to give up their
They do.
Yeah.
But and I have elite status, so I'll get upgraded for free to a lie flat seat for $15. I mean,
when are you going?
I'm going in April. So that's going to be my first trip.
See your dad.
And again, to go see my dad. I haven't seen my dad in almost a year now. It'll be next week. And, I figured this is a great time to buy because, first of all, the cases are going down, which they have to keep going for me to even get on the plane because if they do spike back up, I will not go.
So you can get a full refund, right? If you change your mind.
That's the reason about buying now because the airlines all have – if you buy before March 31st, they'll give you a full credit. And if your flight cancels, they'll give you your money back.
Now, how did you get this fare? Obviously the newsletter – but you had to get it before you put it in the newsletter. Do you go directly to the different sites, or do you use somebody like Kayak? Do you use an aggregator? What do you do to find those fares?
well, I subscribe to almost every travel newsletter, follow all the bloggers, Twitter, and this was actually one of my buddies who sent me the tip that it was on. And actually,
you got buddies. That's a good trick. Get some buddies.
Yeah, they'll text you, hey, did you see the deal? And I go look it up. So nice. I would go right to the source. So I especially during this pandemic, people realize buying through a third party is not a great idea. You can search through a third party, but when you find a deal, you go directly to the source. So I went to AmericanAirlines.com, AA.com, and if the deal is still there, you buy it. But if it's on Expedia, let's say, and it's a lot cheaper, then you can buy it on Expedia. But if it's the same price at the source, you always buy at the source because, if you do want to get a refund, you don't have to jump through hoops. It just makes it a lot easier. And this is what all the hotels, airlines, everyone wants you to go to their website. That's why hotels tell you, if you get a room from us through our website, we'll give you your points. We'll give you, sometimes they'll give you a free Wi-Fi. It all depends on the hotel brand because they don't want to pay these fees to these third parties.
No, of course not.
But as a consumer, it really does help you can use the third party just to search, but book directly because it makes it easier when you want to get your money back.
Do you do the flight alerts the airlines offer? Is that another way to do that?
The airlines, they won't tell you these deals.
Oh, they don't do them. Oh, okay.
No, they don't tell you the real good deals.
Okay.
For the most part. I mean, JetBlue does. Follow them on Twitter, JetBlue Cheaps. Also, their newsletter, Southwest, does too. And that usually comes out on Tuesdays, their deals. And you got to jump fast, but a lot of them are, off-peak travel. And they seems like Southwest and JetBlue, they've always, almost every Tuesday, there's a deal.
I'm looking at flying to Boston to see my mom. She's got her first shot yesterday. And so I figure if I go in April, I'll probably have had the shot and she'll have had the shot. So it might be safe. $237 on JetBlue.
2 weeks after your shot. I mean, and they're opening up my dad's dining room in a week or two now because everyone in his building has had the shot and they've been alone for over a year. I mean,
still encouraged. It's not perfectly effective. You still should wear masks on the airplane and sanitize.
That's not going away.
That's
wearing
not going to
masks
stop.
on an airplane is not going to go away for a long time. And you joked that you're going to be wearing one forever. And actually,
I wasn't joking, Johnny. I was dead serious.
Well,
I'm used to it now. Why not? I won't feel comfortable without it.
One of my biggest pet peeves when I used to travel all the time is that people next to me would either cough without covering their mouth or sneeze.
All the time.
And
how many times have I caught a cold on an airplane? Many times. Usually from sitting next to somebody with a cold.
Totally.
And you're stuck.
So, I mean, I used to carry masks well before this
pandemic. Do you hand them to the guy who's coughing? Is that how you solve it? Because he should be wearing the mask, not you.
I've done that. I've handed one before to people. I mean, one time I was flying to Australia. I got upgraded to first class. The lady, like 3 rows in front of me, was sneezing without covering her mouth, and then she would throw her dirty tissues in the aisle.
Ah!
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Where do these people come from?
But anyway, some other things, big news is that the TSA now says they're going to hire 6,000 more security guards for the summer.
Wow,
so that gives
they're expecting a big uptick. You know what people think? This is going to be the second roaring 20s. Just as in 1920, after the pandemic ended, the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic ended, it was the roaring 20s. People went crazy. They think maybe that's going to happen again.
Well, there's been an uptick, especially in seniors booking flights right now. Or
I can't wait.
Travel.
I'm going to go to a concert. I'm going to go to a restaurant. I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to go see my mom. I'm going to go everywhere.
Speaking of Vegas, by the way, they just announced that they're going to start opening up the hotels, and some of them are going to be 24/7. Let me see. I have the exact verbiage. 3 Vegas hotels, the MGM Resorts, Mandalay, Park MGM, the Mirage. They're going to start doing 24/7 hotel operations because they were only doing weekends for a while. Also, speaking of Vegas, they're going to change the name of the airport from McCarran.
What are they going to change it to?
To Harry Reid, U.S. Senator Harry Reid.
Oh, they're going to name it after Harry Reid. Good for them.
That just came out this week.
He's not even dead. Is he dead? Maybe he's dead.
No, he's
not even dead. And he's getting an airport.
No.
Wow.
I guess he did a lot for aviation for Las Vegas. I don't know the whole story.
Harry Reid International Airport.
But Orange County, I know you have a lot of listeners from Orange County. They got some good news this week. I think it's United's going to be flying. Yep, United's going to be flying directly to Honolulu from Orange County. Also, American Airlines is going to take their plush A321T. They used to fly LAX JFK, and they're going to do one to SNA, to Orange County Airport between JFK. That's a first. So you're going to have a lie flat seat on that.
Is it the John Wayne Airport? That's my favorite airport. It's so small. It's so cozy. And to be able to get a nice flight like that to JFK, I might move to Orange County just for that.
Also, speaking of United, by the way, in the news was with Ted Cruz going to Mexico. But the reason why he was in the news is because I just never understood why the app on United will let anyone see their flight logs. So you can see who's on the standby list.
Wait a minute. If you're on a flight, you could see who's on the other flight with you?
You don't even have to be on the flight.
Oh, my goodness.
I can log on to United right now and look at any flight, and then you can choose, and you can then hit the standby list or the upgrade list.
Wow.
And I never understood that. So that's how people knew which flight he was going to be on.
Wow.
But American, they do not do that. And I really do think United's going to change that technology this week.
That's a bit of an embarrassment for them.
Well, it is. They're actually one of my buddies is the one who cracked this story, and he said he had a United source. So now they're looking for the United source.
They don't need a source. United source is their app.
It was really to the public.
I had a source. The app.
And then my last thing of speaking of Texas, I always travel with a Life Straw.
Yes, I do too. Yes.
But this thing's called a Lifesaver. This one's a little bit more expensive, but Life Straw right now on Amazon is $14.
This purifies the water before you drink it.
But this, I think, honestly, I think I'm going to start carrying that Life Straw in my carry-on. I used to only bring it to international destinations. Just
for the airplane water. Yeah.
Yeah.
JohnnyJet.com. That's the website, JohnnyJet.com/newsletter. You at least subscribe to those free newsletters. Anyway, thank you, Johnny.
Hey, thank you.
Happy 20s. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's the roaring 20s.
I do think so.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like, at first I thought, no, we're going to be so PTSD, we're not going to go anywhere. But now I'm starting to feel that bubbling up like the end is near, the end is in sight. The good end, not the bad end.
I do feel it. And I mean, I even saw something today on Twitter about, even the South African and UK variant that, those numbers are actually even going down too. So, I mean, fingers crossed.
We should be cautious. And if you're in a risk group, you might want to be extra cautious. But, just as you would be about the flu. But I think it's going to be at that level of concern as opposed to what it's been. I hope. Dr. Mom says she's had both shots. She's still leery of travel. So, she's a big traveler too. So
right. No, I know. I see.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be optimistic. I also want to be. Obviously, you want to put your safety first.
I know.
So I'm just going to wait and see another month.
At some point we're gonna have to get back on the horse because I travel is very important to me, as is live music. I love going to concerts, as is eating out. So those things at some point are going to have to come back.
I feel like we're starting to go that way.
Yeah. And I'm going to wait until after 2 weeks after or 3 weeks after I get the vaccine, but I'm going to get both shots, obviously. So maybe I shouldn't make it April. Maybe I make it May. But
there will be some destinations you won't. I mean, I don't think Australia and New Zealand are going to open up this year, except hopefully November.
Yeah.
Canada, I hope they open the border up in April, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
You got family up there. You need to go to Toronto.
Right. Although we can go because my wife's Canadian.
Yeah, but still, yeah.
So
did you see those two tourists? It's so funny who tried to bribe their way into Hawaii.
$3,000.
Yeah, and then there's two folks who dressed up as old people so they could get the shot. There's a lot of shenanigans.
But they were bribing. That was Hawaii, right? The bribe.
That was Hawaii. The bribe. They tried to bribe.
They're from Louisiana, I think.
Yeah, and they got caught.
Yeah, I mean, these days it's tough not to get caught. I mean, everyone is a journalist. So they have a phone, a video phone. I mean, that's how Ted Cruz got busted. They noticed that they recognized him in the airport.
You cannot get away with anything anymore.
No.
Even if you're wearing a mask, especially if you're wearing the same mask you wore on the second floor.
That was pretty dumb.
He apparently underestimated the ire it would incur. You know, even though he was the guy who was yelling at other people for traveling during crises. So I feel bad for Texas. I'm so glad they're getting a thaw now. Yeah.
They got a thaw.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
My thoughts and prayers are with them.
Absolutely. Just terrifyingly scary. I had a guy, not this past Sunday, but a week ago Sunday, who was in Austin. He said, we're getting a blizzard. I said, what? He said, yeah, it's snowing. The kids, I heard this noise. It's snowing. The kids just came running in to say it's snowing. I hope he's okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I had many friends there. All lost their power.
Yeah, terrible.
Take care. Have a great week.
Johnny. Good to talk to you. I like seeing the cheerful Johnny Jet again. He's back, baby.
I'm back. I'd be more cheerful if I had Bitcoin, but.
All right. Take care, John. Bye-bye. I haven't heard Johnny Jet so pumped up in, a year. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He's in a good mood, isn't he? 8888. Ask Leo. It's been tough for the travel industry this past year. We are hitting almost a year, right? Yeah, very close to a year in quarantine. Wow. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you want to talk high tech. About an hour from now, Dick DeBartolo, the GizWiz, joins us celebrating our 15th anniversary together. Yes, it was February 20th. 2006 that we did the first GizWiz. And so we'll talk about our first gadget from 2006, and Dick will have a newer gadget as well. Get the candles ready for the cake. 15th anniversary. Paul on the line from Laguna Heights, California. Hello, Paul. Leo Laporte. I'm sorry, Laguna Niguel. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, Paul.
Hey. Hi, Leo. Thank you for taking the call. Talking about traveling, I'm absolutely agreeing. As soon as they give us the green signal, we're out of here. We've already got reservations.
Can't wait.
For Kauai in April and France in September.
Oh, so, you're a man after my own heart. I love Kauai and I love France. Awesome. We'll
meet you there.
Yes.
We'll meet you there.
Deal.
Hey, I've got 35 old VHS tapes. I solicited one of those services that you send the tapes, and they wanted $650 to convert them to digital.
How many tapes?
I'm wondering, 35.
35. Well, that's not bad for 35 tapes.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot. You know, they have to transfer. It's hard to do that. But you could do it yourself. My advice would be do it soon, because the material they use for magnetic recordings, like that VHS or audio recordings, it's a Mylar backing with a magnetic, material and kind of iron material on top of it. And boy, 10, 15 years down the road, it starts to flake off. They're not going to be real playable much longer. So they may already. How old are they?
Well, some of them are older than that.
Of course, yeah.
And I hate sending them to a service and then finding out that they're going to charge me, even though there's nothing on the tape. So
right, I don't blame you. Yeah.
So do I buy an old VHS player, and do you think that these converting what do they call it, clear click DVD wizard?
Yeah, you could do that. What I would do instead, and I don't know how much longer these devices are going to be around, but they make VCRs or VHS machines that have built-in DVDs. They were really designed for you. They made it for you, for people who are kind of in this intermediate where they have VHS tapes, but they want to digitize them. And they're not expensive. So what you do on these, I mean, it's real time, so 35 tapes is going to take a while. But what you do is you put the tape in, you put a blank DVD in, you press play, and it records, copies them over. And because it does it all in one fell swoop, it's a lot easier and probably a lot less expensive. So let me just make sure they're still selling. Yeah, they're still selling them. They call them combo players. Some of them, wow, they're going up in price. They used to be a few $100. It might be cheaper to get the Surface to do it, but I would look around maybe on eBay, see if you can find one of those. It's the risk is if you put a tape in there that's flaking off, it could destroy the VHS player.
Well, I'll start with the newer ones first.
Yeah, start with the newer ones. Put them in reverse chronological order of age, so you're most likely to survive them. Sometimes what they'll do is what we used to do with audio tape is bake it, which would harden the ferrous coating, but would only give you one playback. You'd have one chance to digitize it. So, because there are people, if you think about it, there are magnetic audio recordings going back 50, 60 years more. Miles Davis, Kind of Blue, recorded in the 50s. You want to get those things digitized as quickly as you can. There's lots of Beatles recordings still on 8-track tape at Abbey Road Studios. You want to get those digitized if you can. I think they did a big digitization program on the Abbey Road tapes a while ago. Let me think of what else. Yeah, if you can't find one of the converter packages, and it may be, there really was a limited time frame where they were useful, where the people had a lot of tapes. Now it's kind of a dwindling mass of people. If you can't find that, yes, you can buy a VHS player. They're cheap, $30.
Yeah.
Nobody wants them. And then connect it up to one of these video capture cards. The output of the VHS player will be what we call, there may be a couple of choices. There'll be the red, white, and yellow RCA plugs. That's composite video. If it has an S video, that's better quality. It's not digital still. Nobody will have digital probably, but S video would be the best. But then you'd need a capture card that supported S video in. And ideally, you'd have a capture card that wasn't, well, you don't have much choice, but you want USB 2 is so slow that the device has to highly compress the video. I think with VHS, it probably doesn't matter, but you want the fastest converter box you can get. If it supports USB 3, that would be better, because then it won't have to compress the video as much. And then you'll input it. They usually come with some sort of software to record. If not, there are lots of choices out there. I would say you probably don't want to burn it to DVD because it's better just to keep digital. Then you have all sorts of flexibility. You could, if Aunt Florence wants a copy of it, and she only has a DVD player, you could burn it to DVD as needed. But the digital copies are going to be the best quality.
Super. Thanks so much, Leo.
My pleasure. Yeah. There's even, if you have a tower PC, most people these days, I don't know if people have slots anymore. If you have slots, you could buy PCI capture cards as well. Those will work a little bit better. In fact, a lot better. Hauppauge used to make those. Lots of companies. Promise. Hauppauge. Worst name in technology. It's a town in Long Island. And I guess they're very loyal to this town in Long Island. But good luck finding Hauppauge on the web, HAPPAUGE.com. And they also make these capture cards. They're pretty good. They've been doing that for a long, long time. They love Long Island, apparently. They love their town so much, they named themselves after it. Might have been a mistake. I don't know. Yeah, Hauppauge makes TV tuners. You don't want a tuner. You want a capture card. For Windows. Elgato used to make great ones for the Mac, but they got purchased. But I think they sold their iTV brand. So it's somebody else bought it. Geniatech. So that's another good one if you're on a Mac. The iTV, EYE-TV. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. Scooter X in our chat room is saying, cancel the caterer. According to Apple tipster Mark Gurman, there is not going to be an event on March 16th. A couple of lesser-known tipsters said Apple was going to announce AirTags and other stuff on March 16th, which would be about 3 weeks from now. Not so. So cancel the caterer, says Scooter X. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk tech. Hello, everybody. Time to talk computers and the internet, home theater, digital photography. Oh, I didn't say hey. Sorry. Let me start over. Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. I know you get in the habit, right? You get used to it. You don't know, who is this guy? He didn't say hey. The tech guy. You know, it's not a catchphrase or anything. I just said it when I first started doing this show because it's a national show. I couldn't say good morning because it was afternoon in some places. I couldn't say good afternoon because it's morning in some places. We're really heard all over the world. It's the middle of the night in some places. Yes, I'm talking about you. Middle of the night in Samoa. So I just say hey. How are you today? It rhymes. It's cute. It's nice. That's why I say it. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number. Yes, the chat room's telling me, Reverb Mike, thank you, that Fat Albert also said hey. Thank you very much. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. It's still free if you use Skype anywhere else in the world to call that number. Website. TechGuyLabs.com, TechGuyLabs.com. And the reason I mention that is all the content from the show ends up there, thanks to James DeRuvo, who's writing it down, our official scribe. So if you hear something, you don't have to write it down. Say, Leo said that Have I Been Pwned site. What is that? Tell me again. Just go to TechGuyLabs.com. The link will be there. Everything will be there, including I frequently get requests because our musical director, Professor Laura, is so good. I frequently get requests. What was that song? Laura sends us the playlist after the show, and we put that up on the website as well. So you can see all the music you heard in the show re-entries and all of that at the website. And no charge, no subscription necessary. No, we don't, or even available. I don't, which is my fault, my bad. I probably should have charged you, but I don't. And we also don't require you to sign up or anything. Just wander on in, use the search. You can get everything you need. Let's go back to the phones. John's on the line from Fallbrook, California. Hello, John. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey.
Hi, Leo. Thanks. Let me get you off speper if you
Thank
give
you.
me a second.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
How's that?
Sounds good. Much better.
I have an old cassette player in my motorhome. My motorhome's old also. And what I do now, or I was doing, I had a cassette that slipped in there and had a pigtail coming out with a 3.5 millimeter plug for the headphone jack.
Yes. Right.
Well, my phone now
doesn't have the headphone jack.
And so I wondered if there was some way cheaper than a new radio.
There is.
You
can do the kind of the same thing you did before, but instead of a cassette with a headphone jack, you get a cassette that, there's two ways to go. You get a Bluetooth adapter, or, which would be more reliable, or you can even get a AM radio, AM radio transmitter. Oh, no, but that won't work because those, when they used to be very similar to cassette thing, but they would also plug into the headphone jack. So your phone has Bluetooth. So what we want to do is find a Bluetooth player that'll go in the cassette slot. A company named Ion, ION makes those. And it's exactly the same. Yeah. Ion audio cassette. Oh, wait a minute. Currently not available. Well, let's see. Oh, there are about 100 of them. They're running around $20. You'll put it in your cassette player. You'll pair it to your phone. Your phone can be anywhere within roughly 30 feet of the player, so it's a little more flexible. You don't have to use a wire anymore. And the Bluetooth player will pick up the signal from your phone and play it through your cassette.
So it would be a Bluetooth to cassette.
It looks like a cassette, just like your cassette did with the pigtail, except it's not. There's no pigtail anymore. It just goes in the cassette.
What would I search?
Bluetooth cassette adapter, probably.
Okay, I can do that.
And I'm looking on Amazon. I see one reshow. It's $13.99. I see that's the cheapest, Allura-Tech, which is a brand name I know. And it's $29.99. You get that next day delivery. So I think they're probably all very similar. What you'd like, if you can find it, what phone do you have?
I have the SE, the new Apple SE.
So I believe that supports the latest Bluetooth, which is Bluetooth 5. So you probably want a Bluetooth 5 receiver. You want it anyway so that you could work with a newer phone as well. Bluetooth 5 is the best quality. It's pretty good. I'm trying to see if the SE has Bluetooth 5. It may not. Yeah, it does. So that's good. So that's a little higher quality. Works a little bit better. The latest Bluetooth.
How do I keep it charged? The Bluetooth on the cassette
doesn't have to charge.
Oh,
it's getting it's getting its juice from the cassette. I think. I would guess. Yeah.
Maybe it's got a little generator.
Maybe I don't know. What is it? Actually, that's a good boy. You're swifter than I am. I wonder. I don't know. I'll have to look and see how they charge that. Anybody have one in the chat room? I don't know. I would think. Let me think. You're right. There's no power coming from the head. So yeah, you'd have to charge that. So it would have to have a dongle that you would charge up. You're so smart. You're so smart.
I listen to you.
You're so smart.
Do anything? Right?
Yeah. So yeah, you'd have to charge it up, but I wouldn't use a lot of juice. Scooter X is saying the one he's looking at 4-hour battery.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if we're on the road, we don't do much more than 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah. Get 2. Get 2. Keep one on the charger. Right?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's an idea.
Yeah, they just flip-flop them. The Allura-Tech says 8 hours on a charge. I can't imagine it needs a lot of juice. I mean, there's not a lot of... the Bluetooth radio isn't that high-powered. So,
right. Oh, no, it's not at 15 feet, right?
Yeah.
All right. Great.
That's a good question. You can't use the pigtail anymore because there's no headphone jack. Another reason why to be mad that they took the headphone jack off.
At least my new iPod has a headphone.
Yeah, it's really annoying. It's really annoying, honestly. The other way to go, you could continue to use your cassette adapter, and Apple sells, I think for about $15, a connector that goes from the lightning port to a headphone jack. So that's how Apple solved that, was with a little headphone adapter that goes to the lightning port. But then you can't...
Go ahead.
Then you can't charge through the lightning port, but if you use wireless charging, then you're good.
But my phone will last for 4 hours.
Easy. And honestly, Apple even sells one that allows you to have power and a headphone jack, I think. Or if not Apple, somebody sells those. So that you could connect it or put it on a wireless charger. So that might be actually the cheapest, easiest way to do this, since you already have the cassette adapter, is just get a headphone adapter.
Headphone jack to lightning bolt connector.
Yeah, lightning, yeah. Apple sells those. In fact, when they first took away the headphone jack, they sold a lot of them. I bought about 10 of them, so I'd have them everywhere because I was so dependent on the wired headphones.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it really made me mad. There's still a couple of companies that sell usually not high-end phones with headphone jacks. I just got one for my daughter. She broke her Android phone. I got her the new, and I really like it, the Motorola G9. And Motorola still puts headphone jacks on there. $200 phone, too, which you got to like.
Well, fortunately, Verizon helped me for $250 on this.
There you go. SE. Nice. That's a nice phone.
Yeah, it is. And I went from 6 to this. And the 6 it's the same size. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a little more powerful. It has the latest chips in it and all that. Yeah, nice to talk to you.
I can get get all the updates.
Where do you go in your RV, John? Do you travel all over?
Well, we have from Alaska to New York.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, but we were working and living out of it.
Oh, nice.
It was fun. And we went to a lot of places, and the company would pay for gas, and then they would rent us a condo where we were working and a car. And so then when it would come time to go on holiday or the weekends, we traveled the area and then moved to the next project.
Sounds like you had a little slice of heaven going there. That's pretty good.
We did some work right there by you in Nevada. I traveled through.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, for Eggs and Bacon Week, what's it called?
That's a good name. It's Butter and Eggs Day, but it's close. Eggs and Bacon's good, yeah.
I wandered all over Petaluma, and I couldn't find you.
Oh, man. What year were you there? Do you remember?
2008 to 2000.
Oh, I wish I'd known, because we were just off the main drag for Butter and Eggs Day. We were about a block away in our little cottage.
I know where the tower is with the clock.
Yeah, we were right next to that. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you were close. If you'd wandered a little more.
Well, we wandered all over. The parade was happening, and then
isn't it?
It's friends.
It's going to be sad because I don't think we're going to have a Butter and Eggs Day in April this year due to the quarantine. But that really was the highlight of the year in our little town of Petaluma.
Where are you at now in Petaluma?
We're on the other side of town. We're on the east side of town.
Okay. All right.
The northeast side.
If I go to the website?
Yeah, we're just look for if you look for TWiT on your Google Maps, you'll find it right away. It's the East Side Studio on Redwood Way.
Oh, perfect.
But we're not open until after quarantine, so drive up here after quarantine, okay?
I will. We go to Dillon Beach or Long
it's beautiful. Yeah.
And camp there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite spot.
Oh, well, come visit us. Absolutely.
I will. Thank you very much, Leo.
Sure, John. Nice to talk to you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you want to talk high tech, I'd love to talk high tech with you. Let's get Pat on the line. He's next, or she's next. I'm not sure. From Denver. Hello, Pat.
Hi.
It's a she. She's a she. Hi, Pat. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. So I am an old flip phone user still, but I'm looking at going to a smartphone.
Are the grandkids giving you a hard time?
Don't have any, but my daughter's giving me.
Your daughter's saying, Mom, can you just get a real phone?
But I've avoided smartphones.
I don't blame you.
The size.
Yeah.
And then also touch screens and I don't really do well together.
You may end up hating this experience.
I might.
Why do you want it? Why do you want to upgrade? If you use your phone almost entirely as a phone, a flip phone makes sense. The only reason to get a smartphone is if you want to do texting. It's a lot easier to text on a smartphone or messaging of any kind. Or you want to surf the net or play a few games. My wife's big Words with Friends fan, as is my mom. They play Scrabble together. So there's things like that. If you wanted to do that, you need a smartphone. But if all you're using a phone for is a phone calls, you don't need more than that. Flip phone.
So I do quite a bit of texting, but the other thing is that my flip phone is obsolete and won't be supported in about 6 months.
So you got to get a new phone one way or the other. And you can still, I should tell you, even though your daughter's going to hate me, you can still buy up-to-date. I call them dumb phones. They call them feature phones. But you can still buy them, including flip phones. So don't feel like you can't. Who's your carrier right now? Who do you use for a cell phone?
Well, Sprint, now T-Mobile.
T-Mobile, okay.
But I was looking at the folding smartphone that's the size of the flip phone, and I don't know the brand.
Samsung makes it. It's overpriced, and that bending screen technology is probably not super reliable. I have the big brother of that, the Samsung Galaxy Fold, and it's nice, but I feel like it's a little bit of a gimmick. One thing I would look at, and T-Mobile will have this too. This is the iPhone SE, as we were talking about this earlier. So iPhones are the easiest smartphones to use. They're also the most secure. For most people, the iPhone is the right choice. Does your daughter, does she use an iPhone?
No, she doesn't.
She's an Android user.
Yeah, she is.
All right.
But the big thing that bothers me is the size, because I keep my flip phone in my pocket all the time, and I can't wear jeans to work. So I don't know of any small smartphone.
No, they're not, because the screen, the whole point of the screen is, you know, if you're going to text and stuff, you have to have it big enough so your fingers can tap the letters, you know, and you want to have a big enough screen that you can read it. The Galaxy Flip, which is, I think the phone you're talking about, is $1,200.
Yes, I know that.
If that doesn't scare you off, then maybe you should look at it. You can go in and take a look at it. It is small. You know, that's nice. It is a modern smartphone. I mean, it's absolutely the state of the art. It's just I'm a little nervous about those bendy screens. But I understand you want to put it in your pocket. Is it a back pocket in your blue jeans, or is it a front shirt pocket?
A skirt and dress.
A skirt, okay. And so the pocket isn't. In fact, a lot of times, unfortunately, with women's clothing, they don't even put pockets. So most women end up carrying them in purses or in other form or fashion, and maybe around their neck or whatever. My daughter keeps breaking her phone because she's just carrying it in her hand, and it slips out of her hand all the time. So, yeah, you want it somewhere secure. There are...
You know of any then old-fashioned flip phones?
Oh, yeah. There are lots of them. Yeah.
Decent?
Yeah, and if you go to your T-Mobile online, they will offer some of them. But when you text, don't you have to like type 33322? Yeah. And you don't mind that?
I'm used to it. I've done it for years.
Wow. That's so painful to me just to even think about it. I'm sure T-Mobile will have a flip phone of some kind, probably a Nokia or something like that they'll sell. Let me just look. Yeah, the Galaxy Flip they sell it for $1,450. That's cray. They sell a Alcatel Go Flip for $100. That'd probably be a better bet for you. $100. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Woohoo! Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Carmen is on the line from Spring Hill, Florida. Hello, Carmen.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Good afternoon. What can I do for you?
I've been told that I have firewalls in my house, which is why my Wi-Fi, excuse the word, sucks.
So you have the old school firewall, the analog firewall, you have walls in your house to prevent the spread of fire from one room to the other.
Whatever.
What I
know is that my service is really, really bad.
Oh.
I had the Spectrum guy come out, and he goes, well, I came into this neighborhood, and right away I lost most of my reception. So it's like not their fault.
He's already saying, I don't like it here. Carmen, you're not originally from Spring Hill, Florida, I'm guessing.
No.
Where would you be from?
I have an accent, perhaps?
Just a little bit, and I love it.
Anywho. So...
You got to tell me where you're from? Come on.
Originally, reality is I'm a Latin from Manhattan, born and bred in New York City.
I thought I detected that. I was also born in New York City, the Upper West Side, but my parents moved when I was 3, so I didn't get that beautiful Manhattan accent. I'm so jealous. Water. Yeah, I want a glass of water. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm sorry. Not to pick on you, Carmen. I just love it. It's a beautiful accent.
Handle it. So, anywho, I looked online, Wi-Fi boosters, this, that, whatever, 300 megapixels or whatever, 1,200 and something.
Whatever.
So, like, where do I go?
You go to me. You go to your tech guy. That's where you go.
Yeah, and you had, well, never mind.
So here's the thing. I don't think your firewalls are actually the problem. I think Spectrum has given you kind of a, excuse the word, crappy router. That's why it, excuse the word, sucks. So you're using the equipment that they gave you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The first thing to try, because we don't want to spend money right out of the gate here. First thing to try is moving it around. Now, I know you can't move it far because it's got to plug into the wall. But even moving it up to a higher position might make all the difference in the world. Truth is, the worst thing for Wi-Fi is not those dry walls that are firewalls. It's you. You're a bag of water. All the humans walking around, Wi-Fi doesn't go through us. So the first thing to do is get it up in the air higher than your head, because it won't be then impeded by anything, at ground level, including us.
Really?
That often makes the difference. So I'd start, it's using radio waves, right? And as any radio station engineer will tell you, is what they call it RF, radio frequency. RF is voodoo. It behaves in strange and wonderful ways. So the first thing to do is just play with it to see if you can get a better position. Does your Wi-Fi router have antennas?
No, it's
no.
A box.
Just a box.
My desk.
Yeah. So, on your desk. Yeah, so get it higher up. The truth is, unless there's metal in your walls aren't probably the problem. They're probably a gypsum, drywall. But, you can make firewalls out of gypsum if you construct them properly. If there were metal in there, and if there is metal in there, then they're absolutely right. That doesn't propagate through metal very well. So, in which case, you might want to look at another way to do it. How far away is your farthest point from your router? Is it 100 feet?
No, my house isn't that big.
Yeah.
10, 20, maybe 30 feet.
It's not even that far, for crying out loud.
No. My router is in the office, right next to the computer, like about 5 feet.
Yeah. So just try putting it up a little higher if you can. Just see, because that might work. Then if that doesn't work, there are ways, and I don't want to get too techie because I don't want you to have to kind of do all this techie stuff, but there are ways to put another Wi-Fi access point, not an extender, but another one out in the hall or in another room. Is there one room that you particularly want it to work in, like your living room or the bedroom, that it's not working in?
Well, I would think my living room, because that's where the Wi-Fi is, and that's where all that circle thing that you see on the TV. What is that? I don't know. It's whatever.
Yeah, that thing. I know what you're talking about. So
my phone, then I'll get. I went to the phone people and they said, use the Wi-Fi in the house. Hello. And then it says about Wi-Fi on my phone. I don't know.
I love you, Carmen. Man, I feel like I'm back home. This is good.
Said I'll scream, but anyway.
Yeah, no, don't scream. No need to scream. So unless it's Prince Spaghetti Day, then you can say, Anthony! So that's another story for another day. So I think there's a couple of things you can do easily. One is move it higher up. When you get the Spectrum people out, did they give you a new box?
No.
No.
He said it was just fine.
Yeah, of course he did.
And he put the thing on it, some kind of a tester, and then he fiddled with something, and then he said, you see how much it went up? And that was it.
See, he's not helping you at all. They may have, if you call Spectrum and say, I want the latest box, you're renting it from them. You don't own it. You say, I want you to update this. Needs to be the latest box. That might help. That might help too. Tell them this. I want the Wi-Fi 6 router. And they'll say, oh, yes, ma'am, we're going to get you the Wi-Fi 6 right away. They'll mail it to you. You don't have to have a guy come out. They don't want to send a guy out. It costs some money. They'll mail it to you. You take off the old one, you plug in the new one, and you bring them the old one whenever you get a chance to go to a Spectrum store. You just drop it off.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, tell them you want the Spectrum Wave 2.
Wave
2. That's their Wi-Fi 6 router. They do offer that. That is going to help as well. Put it higher up, the Wave 2. If none of that works, then there are ways to put the internet in your circuitry in your wall on the plug socket wires. It's called power line networking, but this is a little more geeky and techy. But you can buy an adapter that you plug into the wall next to the router. You plug the wire you have to get an Ethernet wire come from the router into the adapter. And then in your bedroom and in the living room and wherever else you want it to work better, you put the other end of the adapter. And it uses the circuitry in the wall. And often that is a big improvement. If you can't get through the wall, get around the wall using it's called Power Line. The company that I recommend is TP-Link, TP, like toilet paper for crying out loud, TP-Link, and they're not expensive. You can find them on Amazon. They're maybe $30. But
okay, so the TP-Link would be what?
That's called a power line adapter. You need one for next to the router and one for every room you want it in. But I wouldn't even do that yet. First, call Spectrum, say, give me the Wi-Fi 6 one. You said you were going to give me the Wi-Fi 6 one. Get that. I know you can do that. And then also, before you even call them, try moving the router up to above your head.
Okay.
If you can. Okay?
It's not going to be too far because I'm over 5 feet tall. So
Carmen, I knew that. I don't know how I knew. You're a fire plug. You're a firecracker. It's a pleasure to talk to you. I feel like I'm back home with my people.
Thanks a bunch.
Bless you, Carmen. Take care. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. If I start talking like this for the rest of the show, you wouldn't mind that, would you? Coming up, we'll go back to Manhattan. We go back to Disneyland to celebrate the 15th anniversary of the GizWiz. Dick DeBartolo joins us next. Everybody sing along now. Young men, there's no need to feel down. Oh, yeah. Young men. Do you do the YMCA dance, Dickie DeBartolo?
I tend to do a GW. I do the GizWiz dance.
GW. G's hard to do.
It's very hard. That is very hard.
W I can do, but G is a little... Dick DeBartolo, Mad's Maddest writer, and the GizWiz. We are celebrating on this very day the 15th anniversary of our... Now, I've known you for more than 20 years because we used to have you on the TV show, on the Screensavers.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Screensavers. And
but it was about...
Up to Canada or... out
I
to
used to go to Canada, do the show I did up there. But we started doing a podcast called The GizWiz exactly on this day. Well, I'll play you the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
It's time for the Daily GizWiz with Mad's Maddest writer, Dick DeBartolo. This is episode 1 for February 20th, 2006, DocuPen. Support for the Daily GizWiz is provided by AOL Radio at AOLmusic.com.
AOL Radio.
I'm Leo Laporte. And now, here's Dick.
That's how long ago it was.
But you know what? It sounds great. For show number 1, normally it's like...
It's pretty polished.
Leo, do you want to speak first, or should I speak?
Dick sounds... Let me play a little more. Dick DeBartolo, Mad's Maddest writer, and the GizWiz from GizWizBiz.com. Hey, Dick, how are you?
I'm great, Leo, and I'm so excited to be involved in this venture with you and that Hawaiian trip you promised me.
Still haven't given you that Hawaiian trip, but it's someday soon.
Soon, yeah. Well, I know you would do it today for the anniversary, but none of us can travel.
Can't go, so sorry. I was going to do it, but anyway, that first gadget, way back in 2006, when AOL Radio sponsored the show, I don't even know if they're around anymore, was something called the DocuPen. What was that?
The DocuPen was looked like a very large fountain pen that you would scan down a page and make a copy of it.
Oh, it was a scanner in a pen.
It was a scanner in a pen. Exactly. Wow. Exactly.
Wow.
And it was $300. And you could.
Do they still make it? Can you still get it?
It's on eBay, I think, for $39.
Oh, there you go.
But I think the company's still around.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad idea. I think I could still use that, right?
No, it's great. Like if you were in a library or something and needed a copy of something, you just scan it, the page.
Yeah.
And they had added did Transflash become SD, or was Transflash something totally different?
It was micro SD that got renamed. Okay. So, yeah, Transflash was the little fingernail-sized memory cards that
was in
know.
that pen.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Very good.
Now knows micro SD. Wow. So, not much has changed, to be honest with you.
No, it's just 15 years later. We haven't thought of anything else to do.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Still does the GizWiz podcast, now at gizwiz.tv. Chad Johnson co-hosts that with you.
Exactly.
But you still do it.
And I think we're 90 into 9,700 some odd gadgets.
What?
But I have another one.
Okay, 9,701.
Yeah, exactly. So I get the New York Times delivered every day, and they just go down the block and they throw them in front of a building.
Yep.
And if I don't wake up in time, I don't have a New York Times. And especially,
wait a minute, you mean somebody comes and steals it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Especially the Sunday Times, because the Sunday Times is $6.
Oh.
So I'm thinking I've got to come up with. Oh, and it's a brownstone, and it's New York City. You can't go put a Ring doorbell or anything like that. At least you'd get thrown out.
They'd steal that.
Yes, but they haven't stolen what I installed. Not installed.
That's that's called bait. You put that out there. Hey, forget the New York Times. Steal the doorbell.
Yeah, exactly. That's a little more expensive than taking the time to put in a Ring every day. Yeah. So I found this little motion sensor alarm. It's sold as the wireless driveway alert system. So basically, I put the little transmitter on top of my air conditioner, because I sort of have the floor through. The front of the building is my studio.
Yeah.
The back is my apartment.
Okay.
It's two separate.
And you're on the first floor?
On the first floor.
Why would you want to be on the first floor in New York City?
Because I have a garden.
Oh, yeah. You get the backyard is all to you.
With trains.
And it's safe, right? Nobody breaks in. Have you ever had a break-in?
Yes.
How many years you lived there?
You know what? I lived here about 40 years.
Wow.
And it was someone who I was in bed, and they came over the back fence.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
And I heard them trying to push the...
They say, you got the New York Times in here. I need the Times.
And my dog Teddy then was like 13. He was sound. He didn't want to be bothered.
Oh, no.
So I said, Mildred, get the gun. Well, you never saw. The guy cleared the fence and took the top 2 bars off the fence.
Mildred, get the gun. Remember that, folks. It works every time.
Hey, it works every time.
Wow.
So anyway, I had this little sending unit on top of my air conditioner facing the front door, and I have the receiver in my back apartment. And I was worried because we have steel doors in the building, but it works fine. So when the guy walks down and drops the paper off, I have it set just for a ding-dong chime.
You get a little alarm. Paper's here.
I get a little alarm,
cool.
and I run out and get the paper.
How much is this thing?
It's $31 with 2 transmitters, which I bought in case someone steals one of them, and about, I think, are like $25 or $23 for a single receiver transmitter. But it can guard anything that you want, and they say the distance is 1,000 feet, the range from the sensor to the receiver.
So it's motion. It's a motion detector.
It's motion detector. It's a motion detector, and I have it sort of turned in toward the front door so that people walking by don't set it off. And the thing is, Leo, I don't turn it on until I go to bed, which is 2:30 a.m. So between
otherwise it would go off as people walk by and stuff, right?
Yeah, if they walk very close to the building.
Okay.
So basically no one goes by between 2:30 and 5:30 or 6 is about.
But if they do, you're going to get a little alarm. It's going to say
Yes,
"Ding dong,"
Yes.
and you can
I have
say,
to get it on the first
"Mildred,
alarm.
get the gun." Oh my goodness!
Exactly.
It's fun to live in New York.
Oh yeah, it is. It's an adventure. It's an adventure.
But you're a hardy folk.
Oh, you know what? I've lived here all my life. My one move was the Brooklyn Bridge. I was born in Brooklyn, lived
Crossed
there for
the bridge.
like 19 years, crossed the
Wow.
bridge,
And now
set up shop in Manhattan.
40 years in that apartment. Is it rent stabilized? Is it a?
But the apartment is rent stabilized. The studio, you can't have two rent stabilized apartments in New York City. So my front apartment is, guess the price we're going to charge next. Yeah.
But the back never goes up.
Well, it goes up, like 3% with
buck a year.
2%. It gets voted on every year how much.
Wow.
Except that there's some politician here who has 4 apartments, rent control.
Oh.
And his excuse is, I never understood the rent agreements in New York City.
I don't
but
understand it. I'm getting the benefit. I don't understand it. Dick DeBartolo, it's been 15 wonderful years. I look forward to 15 more with you, buddy.
The same here, pal. It's been great. You're super to work with, I'll tell you.
Gizwiz.biz is the website, gizwiz.biz. You'll, if you click the button that says the Gizwiz visits the tech guy, you'll get a link. Actually, you haven't put the link up yet, but you'll get a link to the remote control up there.
It didn't? Oh,
No,
my gosh.
I didn't see it. You should also click the link that says, what the heck is it, for your chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. Dick, I baked you a cake, but then I realized I'm just better going to eat. So I ate the whole thing.
All right.
Sorry.
You could have used the excuse
I'll
that
save you a
FedEx is
slice.
having trouble delivering.
Oh, well, you know what? We'll share it when we get to Hawaii on that trip, I promise.
Okay.
Thank you,
is
Dickie
that
D.
the new place, Hawaii?
The new place. We're all going there now.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you, Dickie D. Thank you, Professor Laura, Kim Schaffer. Thanks to all you for joining me. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great geek week, okay? Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.